A word then on the subject of princesses. Bullshit! That was it. I've long avoided this topic for quite some time, but the community seems to be in agreement that the stature and power of Equestria's 4 princesses is inconsistent at best and horribly imbalanced at worst. We have one princess who barely gets any form of character development beyond cool big sis, we have another repeatedly shown to be unfit to rule, and we have another who is constantly having to clean up after everybody else. And lastly, we have Celestia. And you know what? She needs to go. Celestia has long been shown to be externally incompetent. She can't seem to handle any issue on her own. She's either calling in Twilight, relying on the elements of harmony, or getting captured. And when she's not getting captured, she's simply being defeated. And when she's not being defeated, she's just being plain old stupid. So far, the only smart decision I've seen out of Celestia was in Twilight's Kingdom, where the plan to protect all Alicorn magic in Equestria from Tyrek was to give it to the only competent person presently in the room. Equestria has had to be saved by Twilight multiple times, and then we found out that wasn't just a cheap story excuse, it was actually true. In the cutie remark, Equestria is shown to be overthrown repeatedly by every villain that Twilight had previously stopped. Half of Equestria has been taken over by King Sombra, the Equestrians have been forced into hiding in the Everfree Forest, Nightmare Moon rules over Equestria, Tyrek has blown it up, Discord's doing Discordy things, the Flimflam brothers have turned it into Murica, and I can only assume the Parasprites ate everything. There's a very unfortunate implication in every single one. Celestia can't defend her own kingdom. That without the magical MacGuffin that is the elements of harmony, Equestria's stability is on par with a post-Saddam Hussein Iraq. It's actually ironic. You see, if I may tempt content ratings here, there's a very vile, poorly made series of comics called Fall of Equestria that depict an Equestria having been taken over by a race of extremely patriarchal caribou. I won't go into the details because the words vile and patriarchal should already be doing that for me, but one major issue with the writing that a lot of the series detractors would mock incessantly is that these new characters were clearly self-justifying villain sues because they somehow managed to take down Equestria, where gods live. Except now with the cutie remark, it's evident how that happened. They attacked during the day, and Celestia clearly can't fight worth crap. She loses to everyone. Now, I've heard one flimsy defense of this, namely that Celestia would have had to fight each villain sequentially, because the first 3 seasons supposedly took place within a single year. Equestria would have had very little time to rest before another threat came their way, and the only way Twilight managed to defeat each threat was because of some mystical, magical bullshit weapon. Now, that's a relatively reasonable assumption. One problem, though.
Now that's something I would like to see.
The only alternate future that isn't in some sort of chaos or unrest is the future where Nightmare Moon has taken over Equestria. There are no active conflicts, there are no wars, there's no hiding in a forest, there's no demon tearing apart the landscape. Nightmare Moon's future is peaceful, and the ponies are clearly loyal to an extent, meaning that she's been on the throne for a very long time. Nightmare Moon even says that Celestia has been imprisoned in the moon for years, so Nightmare Moon fought off Discord, Chrysalis, Sombra, and Tyrek, something that Celestia was completely incapable of doing.
But you'll have to get past the Timberwolves.
I am the ruler of all of Equestria. Do you think I can't deal with Timberwolves?
Considering the history of Equestria, it was a reasonable concern. Now let's look at this more closely, because I think I can spot why Nightmare Moon seemed to be undefeated. Discord was kept in a statue, and it's still unclear as to exactly what broke him out. We'll come back to that in a minute. Chrysalis had to infiltrate Equestria, but Equestria is clearly under far heavier guard with Nightmare Moon in charge. Luna had previously been aware of the Crystal Empire, and so Nightmare Moon had certainly been anticipating Sombra's return and reacted accordingly. And then there's Tyrek, who only gained any power because he had Discord's help. And who sent Discord to look for Tyrek in the first place? You remember when I said we'd come back to Discord? I think Nightmare Moon simply smashed the statue. Why the hell did they even keep it in the first place? Because Celestia is a pacifist, that's why. Every villain who dupes her relies on the fact that she is inherently trusting and refuses to deal lethal harm. The way Nightmare Moon behaves, I have no issue believing that she had Discord, Chrysalis, Sombra, and Tyrek killed.
And if you are thinking of trying to escape, it would be very unfortunate for your friend.
And you could call it a lot of things, but ineffective certainly isn't one of them. Let me be honest with you guys. If I were forced to choose between the two, I would rather live in a tyrannical dictatorship that was stable and secure than have all the freedom in the world and get besieged by eldritch horrors every few months. Now, in the real world, those are not the only two options. But if I were pressed, I would choose the former every single time, because I value my life more than I value empty philosophy. And this is what pisses me off about Celestia. Morally, she has the high ground. She doesn't kill, she's kind and merciful, she believes in forgiveness over all else. But when it comes to the things that actually matter, she is the worst leader Equestria could possibly have. The only thing keeping her on the throne is Twilight and her Deus Ex magic of friendship. So excuse me while I do Equestria a favor. I have a call to make.
my powers waned as I languished here?
Mull that over in death.
She was defeated. Done. You shouldn't have killed her like that. We could have locked her away again.
Nonsense. I will dispatch my enemies in whatever manner I choose.
Then you're no better than Barris. I hope you'll come to see that to defy your former master, you have to walk a different path. Now, what's to be between us? Do we part as friends or as enemies?
Sorry, I'm being told this would be very expensive to animate, so instead here's some stock footage of an old plane trying to take off. They didn't have enough wings.